Good morning, everybody. My name is Sergeant Aaron. Today, I will be bringing you the topic about legal matters and the NCO leader. Before we get started, quick risk assessment. There are wires and cables around the area, so please watch your step to prevent yourself from tripping. We're a little bit warm in this environment here, so keep yourself hydrated. And considering the fact that we are in close proximity to each other, please watch where you put your gestures, put your hands. Don't end up hitting your battle buddy. Now, going over legal matters, yes, I understand, is a very exciting, heart-throbbing, and engaging conversation. So, please keep yourself seated and don't get too excited over this topic. Joking matters aside, though, legal matters is very imperative as a new NCO leader to understand and to comprehend. Not only for yourself, but also for the soldiers that fall under you. The soldiers have been coming to you trying to figure out, for their personal lives and their issues, what steps they need to take to continue on to make sure that they keep themselves as safe as possible. And for your personal selves, it is important to understand what you are able to and what you're not able to, and keep yourself from being legally liable for something that you don't want to get involved in. Now, when I'm talking about the military legal, what exactly am I talking about? I'm talking about Uniform Code of Military Justice, UCMJ. The Uniform Code of Military Justice is the foundation of military legal in all the military branches. You got the Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine. Now, these branches look at this and use it as stepping stones to figure out what they need to do. Who they need to get involved in certain court cases, what steps need to be taken to get to those areas, and what individuals are allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. And looking at it, it can be a little intimidating. Trying to figure out, okay, what's a good starting point to start understanding the legal? Well, I'm going to give you 4 things that you can take a look at to make sure that you can comprehend military legal yourself. First thing to start looking at is the Commander's Non-Judicial Punishment, the Article 15. This is used by commanders and warrant officers in order to figure out what punishments they can dish out to their soldiers. Now, thinking about this is the lowest level of recorded legal matters in the entire system. This does not need to be in front of a judge, and this is all by the discretion of the commanding officer. So they use this in order to give punishment to soldiers who they believe are conducting themselves in an inappropriate manner for military purposes. Punishments that can be dished out to this, we have the correctional custody. Also, there's correctional actions. Correctional custody being taking a soldier and detaining them into either a specific location or preventing them from going to certain locations. As far as corrective actions, we can do fatigue work, or just give them duties that can be either on duty hours or off of duty hours. Other punishments that can be pushed through this can be payment issues. So they get forfeiture of payment, meaning that half of the pay that you receive can just be taken away for a certain amount of time, depending on the severity of the issue. There's also detention of payment. Detention of payment being they're going to hold the money, half of your paycheck, for a certain amount of time. And at the end of that time, they will then pay you back that full payment, no questions asked. Another punishment that can be given to you is rank reduction. Now, when doing it this way, officers can take a soldier's rank to a medial position that they are already in, and keep them in that position until they believe that the soldier is able to step up to the rank that they previously held. Keeping in mind that for those above the E4 rank, will only be reduced by 2 ranks. This is to prevent people from going into a financial crisis on themselves. Now, considering that this is all to commander's discretion, soldiers who hit the Article 15 can look at it and think to themselves, all right, you know what? I don't find this punishment fair. I don't think this is legally fair for myself. And if they believe that, they can appeal to the next higher authority in the chain of command. Now, doing this, that process needs to be expediently taken to the next authority in command. However, that does not mean that the soldier is no more longer have to go through the punishment. At least partial punishment, if not full punishment, that was given by that Article 15 that they're trying to appeal needs to be conducted until otherwise revoked by the higher authority. Now, coming off of this, a soldier can decide that instead of going through an Article 15, they do a trial by court-martial in lieu of taking the punishment of the Article 15. When thinking about court-martials, we have 3 different kinds of court-martials. This is all covered under subchapter 4 of the UCMJ. Court-martial wise, the lowest level is the summary court-martial. This is, again, this doesn't need to be conducted by a judge. It is only conditioned by a commissioned officer. The commissioned officer doesn't need to be a lawyer or a judge in order to pass the summary court-martial. The summary court-martial would just generally be for petty crimes not needing to be brought in front of the court. The next level would be the special court-martials. These are conducted by a military judge and 4 members, generally officers of some sort of lawyer. The special court-martials is very similar to the misdemeanor court on the doing side. So again, punishments that can, but not include, go up to about a year time in jail. The highest level of court-martials that can go under is the general court-martial. General court-martial is what covers all the felonies that get conducted in military barracks. General court-martials are overseen by a military judge and 8 members, 8 officers. If, for whatever reason, the crime that's going through is a capital offense, then it specifies under subchapter 4 how many members may be in attendance. You still have to have your military judge, but you might need more than 8 officers in order to oversee this as well. So looking at this, you're like, okay, considering that, where can I find what offenses fall under which courts? What kind of court-martials am I going to get for the offense that I conduct? Well, another excellent reference point to go through is subchapter 10 and 11. Subchapter 10 covers in great detail a vast majority of offenses that can be conducted in a military uniform. It can be things as far as misdemeanor, misconduct. It can be theft. It can be adultery. It can be a variety of different offenses, and it is all listed down under subchapter 10. Now, in the unlikely event that subchapter 10 does not have the offense that the soldier is being tried for, there is Article 134, which Article 134 is the general offense that covers anything not already listed. Because, as one might think, being in the military uniform, you have to conduct yourself in a way that is both honorable and make sure that you are conducting yourself properly in uniform. And any sort of action that you might take that deviates off that can fall under Article 134. For subchapter 11, it has a lot of articles explaining authority and articles that need to get explained. So, authority-wise, who is allowed to go under court-martials? What sort of certifications does an officer need in order to be a part of the court-martial? What can NCOs do in order to assist their soldiers throughout these court-martials as well? That falls under subchapter 11. It also has a very interesting article about what parts of UCMJ need to be explained to soldiers just freshly coming in. All soldiers need to get some sort of explanation of military legal and understanding what they need to do. And that falls under subchapter 11, what articles need to be explained. So keeping this in mind, to be a good NCO leader and to understand how legal works, trying to figure out what starting points that you need to understand in order to get that process going. You have your Article 15 under subchapter 3. You have the explanations of court-martials explained under subchapter 4. And you have subchapter 10 and 11 to explain different offenses that fall under different court-martials, as well as articles that need to be explained to both yourself and to your NCO leaders. Understanding these processes and these starting steps will not only help you understand and be aware of what legal matters you need to be conducting yourself in, but also help your soldiers that you can help through and gain their trust and assist you not only as for you to assist them not only in their military practice, but also in their personal lives. With that being said, do we have any questions regarding the military justice system, UCMJ, or what type of steps that you need to understand as an NCO leader? Sergeant Bell.
Do all the branches of the military use UCMJ?
Correct. The only exception is the Coast Guard, which they follow the UCMJ, but they have their own like little subtitle and sub-chapters. Other than that, the National Guard and active divisions both use the UCMJ. National Guard more once they are on activated quarters, which does include during their drill weekends. Going off of that point, actually, as a National Guardsman, being off of borders, so not during your duty weekends, but just kind of in your normal civilian lives, you might fall under something that brings you out to report. The UCMJ does not cover that under court-martial because it's done on the civilian side. However, if you are activated and you cause an offense that is both military and civilian side, you would have to go under both courts. So you would have to fall under UCMJ and then go to a civilian court to figure out what happens in those steps. And you might take offenses and penalties for both. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Do we have any other questions regarding military? At this time I have observed no questions. Again, my name is Sergeant Air. Thank you for listening in